I'm Mel Godfrey. I'm going to tell you how I'm surprised to be driving around in this electric car here. In October last year, 2019, Mary and I, my wife, were looking to replace a big old Volkswagen Passat that was putting out about nearly 2 tons of carbon dioxide and was probably quite a bad polluter as well. And so we started a bit of an option in looking at what was in the market. But to be honest, never thought we'd be in a position where we'd end up driving an electric car. And 2 reasons for that. We expected the cost to be too high, and we weren't quite sure that the infrastructure was right. And what we found out was that we were wrong on both counts. Right, I want to talk to you about fuel costs next. One of the remarkable differences between running an electric car and the diesel that we used to run last year is the fuel costs. So the difference comes about because the charging rates for electricity, particularly overnight, using a company that provides complete renewable energy, is at only 5 pence per kilowatt. So let me show you on the screen. So the screen here shows you a average use per mile of 4.7 miles, per kilowatt. I can compare that with the diesel that I used to put into the old Volkswagen Passat we had prior to this, which actually had an average of about 9.5 miles per litre. And the difference in terms of the actual price in my pocket is enormous. So for 1,000 miles, I would be spending just short of £150 in order to fuel up the car. Using these special tariffs that are available through a number of the energy companies these days, I'm able to buy my fuel for about £12 for 1,000 miles. So it makes a remarkable difference. So the 5 pence per kilowatt is for home charging, or that's certainly one of the tariffs that's available to you. The charges are a bit more if you buy it off the public network, but still significantly cheaper than the diesel and the petrol alternatives. So for example, if I'm on the motorway, I need to charge, and this is typically what we've done on routes to London, where we need to charge about 60% into the journey. And that costs us about usually 25 or 30 pence a kilowatt. You compare that again in relation to diesel and petrol, we're paying maybe a third, maybe a half at the most, compared to that alternative. So even when being charged at the highest rate that you will be charged for electricity for an electric vehicle, it's still extremely competitive. So the totality of this is as follows. So in a year, or done on a monthly basis, our old car was costing us about £200 a month. That's because there was road tax to pay for, the maintenance costs are higher, other things, and particularly the diesel. So in summary, we're paying just under £100 per month to run around in what turned out to be a brand new electric vehicle that we're not polluting with, and we are not creating any carbon footprint with. So that was a surprise, that we should be able to do so for such a relatively small sum of money. And I say that because there was no virtue in what we were doing. It was always going to be an economic decision. And the decision to have a look at electric cars was really more to knock off that as an option than an expectation that we'd end up in a position of actually running one as we have. So what's the car like? The car's great to drive as compared to a manual gearbox or even a automatic gearbox on a car with gears. It's incredibly smooth. It does have the welly when you need it in traffic. And I found it, I mean, I really surprised myself that I'm really not particularly concerned about cars and their makes, but this one's, you know, I really enjoy driving it. I like getting in it, and it's a joy to drive. And we also drive with the new innovations that are available in hybrid cars these days, but also available in this one, which is to be able to use regenerative braking, which means that once we switch this on, any surplus electricity when you're braking or going downhill goes back into the battery. But what it means in terms of how you drive is you effectively drive on one pedal, and it's something you very quickly become used to. And so much so that actually I can't imagine a better way of controlling a car now than being able to both accelerate and brake on the same pedal. And if you really do need to stop quickly, there's always a brake pedal you can use in an emergency. So in terms of innovation, I'm enjoying that. So. One of the things that people talk about a lot in relation to electric cars is range anxiety. In other words, a worry that you're going to run out of charge during your journey, or particularly if you're doing a long journey. I have to say it's not something that I share at all. There's a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, I'm able to charge the car at home in our drive. That makes quite a lot of difference in relation to always being in a position where the car is topped up. However, if we're making a long journey, then there's the use of the technology with mobile phones and the public charging system that makes range anxiety, again, something which really doesn't exist for us. And the reason is this: so there's a thing called ZapMap on mobile phones, which gives the whole of the public charging network, every single charging point. I can find that on an app, and the app will also tell me about its status. This means that I can control the journey time. So typically, if we're going to London, I can't get to London on one single charge. This particular car doesn't allow that to happen, although the newer models would do that. But what it does mean is that I can plan to stop at a particular service station. I can look ahead and make sure that the pumps or the chargers are working, and just plan to stay for 40 minutes. That's time for a coffee and a sandwich. The charging's finished and we're off again. And I think once you're into the mindset that you plan the journey and you can maybe take a little bit longer at a service station, then actually it becomes so much easier to think about. So that sense in which, because you can put several hundred miles into the tank of a diesel or a petrol car, it goes away, and it'll certainly go away for the new generations of electric car, where the range is 300 and or so miles. I don't see that being a problem at all. Yeah, the other motivation to investigate electric cars was also about the transition that's clearly taking place at the moment in the car industry between the old petrol and diesel engines through to something new. And if we as consumers aren't making a difference there and showing the companies that we want to buy their products, it's just going to happen more slowly. And slowly and time is really a huge problem for everybody and the planet, because we need to slow this change that's going on right now down significantly, and it will take a long time to turn it around. So as a consumer, it felt right also to be investigating that, and if possible, becoming the user of an electric car rather than a petrol or a diesel car.